Life Adventure News.
One of the most deadly parts of a hurricane will be the storm surge, a rise in water as the storm approaches the coast near the center and to the right of the center. At the moment, the forecast track takes it right up the center, up the Texas-Louisiana border. That would put the worst of the surge to the right, the dirty side, the onshore flow side of 9 to 13 feet in southwest Louisiana. At the moment, the forecast for a surge based on that forecast gives us a surge that we can handle in Galveston, 3 to 5 feet, western edge of the bay, northern side of the bay, and along the exposed beaches, a little higher up the Bolivar Peninsula toward High Island. The reason that an evacuation has been asked for so many areas along the coast and along the west side of the bay and the north side of the bay is because that forecast track is not set in stone. And if that track moves closer to us, then all of a sudden we could have that much more deadly storm surge, and we don't want anybody to get caught down there. The storm today has strengthened. Winds are at 80. We think it's going to go much stronger than that before it makes landfall. And you see the counterclockwise rotation. So already on that dirty side, the strong side, see the stronger winds, those winds grab the water surface through friction, and they're already pushing a bulge of water out ahead of it. That's the building surge that's coming for the upper Texas or Louisiana coast. Infrared satellite enhanced. You can see thunderstorm activity is trying to get better organized near the center. It's actually been pulling in some dry air today. See that little dry slot? That has slowed down its development, even though it's strengthened a little bit today. We think eventually this is going to overcome that dry air out ahead of it and become a major hurricane. Forecast track from the Hurricane Center takes it to the upper Texas or southwest Louisiana coast as a Cat 3, winds of 115, late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. So this is a Wednesday night event. And again, the center of the cone does take it to the Texas-Louisiana border, but this cone is showing the uncertainty in the forecast. We're unable to pinpoint it that well. It's going to make landfall somewhere between Galveston and Lake Charles, and it's just as likely it could be on the western edge of that cone as it could be on the eastern edge of that cone. So everybody in here is preparing for the possibility of a Cat 3. That's just how this game has to be played. Look at the spaghetti plots. They're very tight. They tend to favor the western edge of the cone at the moment. We're going to get an update at 10 o'clock tonight on all of this, and I would urge you to watch the 10 o'clock news tonight and this Tuesday night so that you're aware of the updates and no one gets caught off guard in case there's a big track change. So again, landfall late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. It's going to be a major, a Cat 3, winds of 111 to 135. Winds, heavy rain, storm surge, all significant threats with this one. Now, what if we did take a direct hit? What if that center of rotation came right up through Galveston Bay and right up I-45? Here's what we would get. A storm surge of 10 to 15, winds of 110 to 125 on the coast, Galveston. Houston would have gusts to 100 plus. The amount of power outages and trees down would be incredible. The trees coming down would knock the power infrastructure down in so many spots that power would be out for weeks, if not a month or more in some spots, if this major metropolitan area, Houston, took a direct hit from a Cat 3. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out, but that's the worst case scenario that you need to be aware of. Here's the rainfall estimates. Again, this is the center going right up toward Beaumont. They get 10 inches. And look how on the weak side of that circulation where we would be on that forecast, the rain just cuts off. We get a northerly wind, it's a dry flow. We don't get much rain in Houston out of that type of a track at all. That's like Rita in 05. Rita Cat 3 went right up into southwest Louisiana. We had some breezy conditions here. We had almost no rain out of it. Amazing how you can be so close to a big storm, but if you're on the dry side, that damage zone really cuts off quickly. Here's the wind forecast. 100-mile-an-hour gusts going into Lake Charles, going into 4:30 Thursday morning. But again, that's focusing on a center of the storm going right up the Texas-Louisiana border. If it's further east, our winds would be lower. If it's further west, our winds would be much higher. We're just going to have to watch moment to moment together going into Wednesday night. So this evening, this Tuesday evening, beautiful conditions. I would urge you to get some supplies if you don't have it, food, water for several days in case you have to stay where you are. Light breeze, temperatures through the 80s this evening. Tomorrow, most of the day is nice. East breeze will build during the afternoon. By the afternoon, there may be some scattered showers beginning to build in, northeast wind at 18, but that storm will be getting close. And then Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, 1 to 3 a.m. is when the actual storm is going to hit. The extended Rain chances will have to be adjusted based on the exact track. You see there's such a tight lineation as to who gets really heavy rain and who gets none. And then it doesn't sit on us. The storm leaves and we go back to just scattered showers in summertime going into the weekend.
First, Bill Cairns has a check on the hurricane headed to the Gulf Coast and picking up steam. Bill?
Willie, this was one of those pit-in-my-stomach mornings, waking up, knowing the storm was undergoing rapid intensification and seeing this satellite image behind me now filling up the entire Gulf. The storm is intensifying quickly, and it's getting larger in size, so it'll push more water towards the coast. So let me explain what all of this means and tell you where the worst of this is going to be. And I certainly hope that the federal government is getting its resources together now and putting them in place to head to Louisiana. They are going to need a ton of help when this storm is over with. Massive power outages throughout the state, homes just devastated. Lake Charles is in a lot of jeopardy too. So 110-mile-per-hour winds. This has gone through rapid intensification. It's met that classification. It is still rapidly intensifying. Hopefully that'll stop before landfall. But right now the Hurricane Center says Category 4 this afternoon, landfall later on tonight about midnight to 2 a.m. local time around Lake Charles, Beaumont, Port Arthur. The forecast has not shifted towards the Houston area, so that was one piece of good news. But then the storm kind of rains itself out as it goes up to the north. But we really care about what's going to happen where the devastation and destruction is. If you're being told to evacuate, you have to go. A 10 to 15-foot storm surge is historic. That's going to be like Rita. That's going to be like Hurricane Ike. And it's all from the Beaumont, Port Arthur area, all through the southern half of western Louisiana's coastline. That would be a record. And just to let you know how far inland it's going to go, 30 miles is how far inland Lake Charles is. They're expecting a 9 to 12-foot storm surge. At 13 feet, the river through Lake Charles floods half the city. So that's how serious of a situation this is right now. And of course, then we still have to deal with those hurricane force winds moving inland. And this is the wind forecast. Lake Charles, Cameron area, over 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected. So you kind of get an idea here. First, the concern later tonight, this devastation of the storm surge that will destroy communities down along the coast, especially Cameron Parish. And then we deal with the storm moving inland. Then we deal with the heavy rain, the gusty winds, the power outages. That will spread. I mean, Shreveport could gust to 67. So power outages all the way through Louisiana. Even in areas like Little Rock, we could see wind gusts of 40 to 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then, as we mentioned, the rainfall, too. But I think the storm surge is the thing that's going to kill the most people if people don't evacuate. And then we're going to have to deal with all the falling trees and power outages for days, if not weeks, in areas right along the Texas-Louisiana coast. So obviously a horrifically devastating storm is on its way for the Gulf. Pay attention to your emergency managers. Get out of harm's way if you possibly can. You still have about 12 hours until the storm will be approaching the coast. You're watching Morning